what was like the highlight for you all during your presidency? And I know for you, Trey, it's coming. But what was that moment where you realized like this is why I stepped up to the plate to be in this role and to create this community at Clemson?
Well, as you said, I'm still kind of doing programs right now, and they're ongoing. But especially in times like right now where we have protests on very controversial matters such as the election, such as Black Lives Matter, and other related topics, I feel as though it's essential to have some sort of program where African Americans and Latino Americans feel like they have a voice, feel like they have friends, feel like they have people looking out for them, because sometimes in this world it is kind of hard to fathom that sometimes that you could feel alone. And I feel like a lot of people do feel alone sometimes, and that this is what this organization tries to combat.
Yeah, I think for me, I think amongst students, we have a lot of conversations about feeling a lack of community sometimes. So like, for example, passing someone and not speaking to them or something like that. And I think that's a conversation that was always there since I was a freshman. So my favorite part was really just meeting so many African-American and Hispanic Latino males and just knowing them to the point where I see them on Library Bridge, I'm giving them a handshake. I'm seeing them in the library, I'm saying, hey, and just building those connections and then being able to connect people. So saying, hey, are you in engineering? He's an engineer, you know, and putting them together. And I think that was just like, it was just a very fulfilling experience, and it also just made me realize the importance of that community and how that can improve campus so much.
Yeah, I would say the highlight for me would probably be two things. So the first thing I referenced before was the brother-to-brother, sister-sister formal. That was really like Brian's little baby project, and then like I kind of like raised the baby to be a little bit bigger, you know, over time, because that's something that he wanted me to continue and develop. But I mean, I remember we spent at least 2 or 3 months planning it, and I mean, for a student to go to class and then in their free time, like make phone calls to order food, make phone calls to have music, like catering to decorate the place, calling around campus to find the best venue, and then setting up meetings with our sister counterpart to make sure that everybody's putting in the same amount of money, everybody's putting in the same amount of effort. Like all of those different things were really developing of my character, and I know Brian's as well, just because it's just a lot of actively doing things to put an event together. So from start to finish, and then just seeing how when we I remember Brian and I had talked about having a photo wall, and like it was gonna be like, I kept telling Deonte, I said, yeah, we need like a red carpet or something. You know, people gonna come in there dressed up real nice, you know, let's make people feel like this is a really nice evening. And like we really did that. And so at first, you know, I was kind of worried. I was like, man, people really might just come for the food because they know we got food, you know what I'm saying? But just seeing how people took the pictures on that wall and they had their friends together and posted on social media, it really saw that that was something we created, a community dynamic, and brought everybody together. And then the second thing during my presidency was really just how we focused on our actual founding morals of boosting academic integrity and hoping to increase retention rates. We held a academic forum, but the forum wasn't about necessarily like grades and, you know, how you can do better in class, but actually about the dynamic of being a college student. So we partnered with the Academic Success Center with Matthew Kirk at the time when he was still in the Success Center, and he came in and gave us all these statistics and basically was like, look, this is everything y'all are facing right now, but since there are numbers, there have been people that make it. So just seeing how we showed Black and brown males that the odds are stacked against us mathematically and systemically as well. Like we can look at that and see, but just because we're marginalized and oppressed and whatnot doesn't mean that we're not gonna make it. So having that forum really inspired people to like, okay, when the schoolwork gets hard, I'm gonna do better in this. I'm gonna attempt to do better in this. I'm gonna try to seek other help to make sure that I can get my grades and graduate so that I can fix the number and the presentation for the next generation to come. So that was pretty special as well.
I think just for me, I don't know, this might invoke emotions in other people, but the conference that we went on to, the national conference, the first year for Brother to Brother, I didn't realize till like years later when everybody kind of grown up and joined different organizations, Greek organizations or service organizations, but I actually saw those relationships being formed that weekend. And to this day, we still talk, we still, communicate. And so it's kind of cool to see that none of us are alike at all. Some of us probably wouldn't have talked if it wasn't for Brother Brother, but even through that, we still communicate. We still have that memory, that experience to really look back on and appreciate, because again, it wasn't anything like that before my freshman year. So it was just cool to have that experience and then see years later that we're still all remembering what we did, what we started.
And just to speak on that, the national conference was something that we really weren't going to be able to go to. I remember Deonte hit up the exec board and was like, the university isn't going to give us all the funding we need unless we do a presentation. My first thought was, why would they not give us the money to represent the university on a national level? And that's when I started realizing some of the red tape that went behind the university standpoint. And I remember, like, when the presentation was scheduled, I was like, Deonte, I got math class at that time. Well, I got to do this presentation. I'm the one that talked the most in the group. I remember telling my professor, come into class a little suit on. Yeah, I got to leave about 15 minutes into class. That's okay, I'll send you the notes. And she was so understanding because I told her, like, what I was doing, like, why I had to miss class. And then it really made me feel better because once we got into the presentation, we were in a room with all Clemson execs, and we actually did it to get the money. We did get the money because we did such a great presentation to go get funded, and that was really a big trip. I remember calling my mom and dad saying, like, because of our presentation, we're gonna get, like, flown out to Detroit. She's like, Detroit? You ain't got Detroit money? And I was like, yeah, I don't, but the university does. So, that was really, really inspiring to see that, like, our team could put something together and gather that much money to help us get extra material to build our campus up.
Yeah, and it's like those skills that really help you in life. Like, I didn't know how to plan an event until Brother to Brother. And so now that I'm in other organizations or I work at Clemson now as an admissions counselor, I know how to plan those events. So experience Clemson, that was kind of easy for me because I've already had experience with this stuff. So those skills are tangible and they really do help you later on in life too. So.
And I would like to comment on that. The skills that you gathered, I feel like Brother to Brother gives you a lot of skills in your toolbox that you could use to further or advance anything that you have in your life. Like if you want to go on to graduate school, or those skills are applicable to your anything that you pursue after college. And one thing that I did when I was president is I extended a lot of positions on the board. So I brought back about 12 or. But the board is now 12 positions, so I brought back 4 or 8 positions, between 8 and 4 positions, and that allowed sophomores to get on the board. And I thought that was very important because sophomores are going to be the next class that leads this organization, because it's usually a junior or a senior that does so. So I wanted for sophomores to be able to get some of that experience, and not only them, but I have juniors who also, like myself, who are getting a lot of quality experience and skill sets due to Brother to Brother, like you said, how to plan an event, how to collaborate with other organizations on campus, how to seek financial funding, as you said, how to connect different people in different majors and different departments. I think that's very essential. That's a great skill set for anyone to have, and that alone has, again, been a motivation for me, and still is a motivation factor for me in the organization.